educators. Welcome to Unhappy Teacher Podcast, a safe space for educators to vent, get it off your chest, and know that you are not alone. Here we talk about the challenges and triumphs in education and how we can get back to living our personal and professional best lives. Today here I have a wonderful guest, my coworker, Miss Tammy Buckley. Miss Tammy is a truly inspiring figure with a rich blend of roles and passions. She wears many hats. She's an author, a writer, a teacher, evangelist, transformational coach, and speaker. Currently, she's shaping young minds as our 7th grade language arts teacher while pursuing her master's in special education. Tammy is also the CEO of Divine Transformation and Beautiful, Brilliant Butterflies, a program dedicated to empowering young girls and fostering their growth. And if that's not impressive enough, she's gearing up for the launch of her Divine Transformational Academy. It's a new venture, right?
Yes,
And you're going to tell me more about that shortly, but we look forward to learning so much about you today, Tammy, and just about, your experience in education, what made you want to get started. So let's just start there. Let's start there and tell me just about how did you get started in education? What made you want to, dive into teaching?
Well, honestly, I've been a teacher all my life. I started when I was 16 years old, and I believe that if you have a gift or a talent, you don't start at a degree.
Mm-hmm.
You don't start in a school system. Like if you do hair, you already start doing it at 12, and then you have to go to school to get the license or the certificate, right? Same thing with a teacher. So I started at 16 with my aunt. She's worked at the school in the cafeteria, and then she also after school she used to clean the schools or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her, I said, "Oh, can I clean with you? And can I take some of these desks home?" And she said, "Yeah." So I took the desk home, and then we have a huge family. My grandparents have 17 children. Okay. So I used to teach my cousins, my little cousins that was like younger than me. When I was 16 years old, they was like 10 or 8. And I bring these little desks home, and they sit at their desk, and I started teaching them like that. So it started there. And then from there, I ventured to, I graduated in 2012 with my bachelor's in education.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I said, okay, I don't want to teach right now because I was married at the time, and then had a baby at the time. So I held off. As women, we hold off our careers because of our children. So I held that off, and I said, you know what, I'm ready. So I started as a substitute teacher just to get into the Gwinnett system, and then long-term sub, then a Stella sub, and here I am today as a teacher. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. So
wow. I mean, so it's like you knew that you wanted to be a teacher because that's what you essentially set out in your bachelor's to do, right?
Yes.
Well, you said it was in science, right? You had bachelor's in science,
mm-hmm.
is it?
I have my degree in science. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And biology.
Biology. Mm-hmm. And then you was like, okay, well, you took some time off, say you're not ready to jump into the teaching field yet, mm-hmm. but what made you decide to, hey, you know what, I think it's time for me to go ahead and do it? What was that?
I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why, and not just only my son, having him at that time, he's 19 now, thank mm-hmm. God. I only have one child, but at that time, not only was that the case, it was also with my mindset at the time. And even now I understand how to utilize my mindset because I have a kingdom mindset. Mm-hmm. And when you, at that time, back then, it was more prevalent. They took prayer out of school. They took everything out of school as far as God. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to mentor these kids without the Lord? So
yes.
Like, and you was saying that, oh, you can't congregate, you can't bring these kids together to talk to them about God, or it's called an assembly. So I was kind of afraid that I would be implementing all my mindset into them and get fired. I would have got fired back then because I couldn't do anything without God. So now they're more lenient about it, even with the principals, the couple of schools I've been at, I've seen that they also were more lenient about talking about God. So I started implementing and felt a little more safe. So I feel
wow, that's interesting because mm-hmm. I mean, this is the first time like I'm having this conversation. Mm-hmm. So are you saying like you felt like at that time that you could not effectively be a teacher without having to talk about God and your foundations?
Exactly, because even in my classroom right now, I bring scripture, but not like, I don't say this is Matthew 6:33, but I do say like do things decent and in order, and that's the scripture. I say the way I move is still with scriptures, and even to the point where now my students even ask me will they pray with me. They want to pray with me and things like that because I don't force nothing on anybody because I don't
Right.
know nobody's background or their religion, and I don't want to impose myself. Or I'm not here to convert anything.
Yes.
All I'm here to, I just tell my students I'm here to encourage you. We're here to love each other, and then one body. We're one body in one group. We move together. So that's how I teach, and I come from that place. And if you're coming from a place of being relatable to them, because all of them have a story, and I
Right.
tell them that they're going to tell their stories, and they're allowed to get into circle time to tell their stories, and it helps them even in their other classrooms when they was a problem child for per se. And I don't believe in calling kids a problem. You try to find the problem. You know what I'm saying? They're not the problem. It's a problem that's going on within them.
Do you feel that, your experience as an evangelist, as a transformational coach is helping you in the classroom with your teaching now?
Absolutely, because I actually last year I was changing my degree over because my undergrad is actually in counseling, in Christian counseling, and psychology. So with that being said, I was actually changing my major over to counseling to be a counselor at the school. But when I saw how the counselors moved within the school system and they could not do anything, I said I
Right.
could do right. They can't do nothing. So I said I can be more effective in the classroom because I'm all about prevention. It's preventing them before they even get to the counselor.
Right.
And so I'm just like I can touch more of their lives, touch more students, versus they're being sent to me.
Right.
So I said, no, I'm gonna stick with because everybody's like, you need to be the mentor because I am a mentor. I'm a counselor, and the kids tell me everything, and they're going through so much, and they talk to me about suicide. They talk to me about cutting themselves. They show me. They talk to me about their families. They talk to me about. I had to take one girl home with her mom. She was walking. This was last year actually, and I took them to a hotel. Some kids stay in hotels. You just don't know. And I even tell the kids that's bullying. I talk to them about bullying. I'm saying, they're hurt. That's why bullying you. So let's talk about your hurt and why you're doing this. And they talk about that.
And you know what? And that may be the reason why you are called to be in the classroom because like you said, you could have done it years ago at the time, but you had to build up your foundation, build up your system. And what you're doing right now, you're teaching them language arts and stuff like that, but you're also there as their counselor, as that person that's listening to them and just being who you are. You sound like this is natural to you. So how did you, how do you feel like you've built that? How did you build that system within you to be that guide, to be that mentor, that counselor for students?
I believe that I believe that we all have something within us that God has already placed before, like you said, he knew you before you were born, when you was created in your mother's womb. And I believe that we all have purpose. And if we go with the purpose and the assignment, because you would know at a young age, like I said, I've been teaching since I was young.
Right.
I always want to work with the youth. Kids always gravitated towards me. Even now, at the age of 46, when I tell them how old I am, they guess. They're like, "Oh, Miss Buckley, you're 28." I'm like, "Well, thank you." I said, "Wait till I lose 20 more pounds. I'm like I'm 25." Okay. So, but I'm almost 50 years old. But the youth still gravitate towards me, and the boys and the girls. And I love middle schools because that's when they're transitioning. That's when they're most emotional. That's when they meet that girl. That's when they meet that boy. That's when they get their hurt. That's when they get their pain.
Yeah.
And you talk to an adult male or an adult woman, especially adult males. I'm noticing with adult males, with looking at middle school boys in 7th and 8th grade, they found their first hurt there. They come to me and talk to me about their little girlfriend, and that's real love. And people look at them like, "That's not love. That's not love. You need to get into your books." No, this is real for them, and it's pure love, and I believe that. And they'll come to me. They even say, Miss Buckley talked to us about. She'll talk to you about your relationship, and I help them have healthy relationships because their parents not talking to them about it. We're not talking to them about healthy relationships, not just boyfriend girlfriend, but also friend girls and friend girls and boys and friend boys. Teaching them about healthy relationships. Even talking to an adult males, they'll say, "Well, I got hurt by my first girlfriend in 8th grade," and that's the truth. And then some of them carry it over to high school, even as adults. You can see them on YouTube right now because they got hurt by some girl in 8th grade. And I'm trying to prevent. I'm all about prevention,
right?
So I'm tackling them now because they're so. And when you're so emotional, like in psychology, you learn about the left side of your brain and the left side and the right side of your brain. And when you emotional like that, you cannot hear, you can't think. And so you have to be able to be calm. And so they're at their highest level of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's hard to teach them, and you have to redirect them and be like,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm doing more behavior than I'm teaching in the classroom. And that's what we do in middle. That's what most teachers in middle school talk about,
Yeah.
is the behavior versus teaching, because of this high emotion. So you have to learn, as teachers, we have to become, in middle school, you have to become a counselor, a
Yes.
mentor, a coach. You just can't be in there saying, okay, I'm just going to teach.
Yeah,
You know?
no, you'll never reach through and penetrate their minds. I always say I feel like 80% of my time I'm literally just talking to them about life. Again, how to be a good person, just trying to filter out all those emotions and things that they're
Mhm.
going through, and just saying, hey guys, okay, now that I got your attention, let's go ahead and focus on why you need to read, and why do you need to learn these things. I mean, it is very challenging, and just working with you, you were our stellar sub, but just you always had this command over the classroom. You didn't have
Mhm.
to raise your voice or do much, but you had this command, this natural command of the classroom. So it's no wonder that you've been already an educator teaching, and so it's a kind of a natural progression for you.
Right.
Can you tell us more about like how what you're doing right now, as far as becoming seventh grade? I know we spoke a little bit about you doing special education or gifted
Mhm.
teaching. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So I originally wanted to do general education, but as it is, when positions is open and you're called to do something, you have to answer to the call, right? So now that I'm teaching special education in language arts, I had to change my whole game plan, because I was getting my master's in middle school language arts. So
Mm-hmm.
now I had to change just now mid. I'm almost done. I had to change it to special education in order to teach my kids, and I was like, and what the crazy thing is, I was on the phone when I was on this phone with my university, and my class was coming in from their connection classes. I was like, oh my God. I was like, how long is this going to take? But the babies, they sat there. I said, listen, Miss Buckley's on the phone. If you want her to keep teaching you guys, I
You're
have to
gonna
get
let me
my
get through
major
this phone
change. I
call.
have to get my major change over. I explained it to them. They was like, okay. They was quiet as a mouse. And they was like, yes, Miss Buckley, we want you to be our teacher. So
Oh,
yeah, so they stayed quiet while I got my this was 2 weeks ago. I had to
yeah.
change my major over. But guess what? Sometimes we have plans for ourselves, but you know what? We got to go with the original plan that God has for us.
Right.
So,
So I know you have a degree in science. Why not just teach science?
because everything about me is, like you said in the beginning, I'm an author, a writer. It makes sense. And so when I came into the school system 3 years ago, as like
Mm-hmm.
I said, as a substitute, and then as a long term sub, I was able to. I've been preparing for 3 years to get to this
Yeah.
place, and I was in the classroom for 2 months because the teacher had left, and I was teaching language arts, and it was easy to me, it was easy for them. Even now, last year when I did it for 2 months again because a teacher left, it was easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, like one of the teachers that's at the school now saying, "Hey, do you know a Jaslyn? She wrote a story." And she was like, I'm amazed. She said, who taught you how to write like this? And she was like, Miss Buckley taught me how to write like this last year. She's like, and
Oh.
so she emailed me and told me. I was like, this is amazing. So they actually listen. Then they'll come down the hallways, like the eighth graders would say, Miss Buckley, can you please come to teach us? Because
Uh-huh.
you just broke everything down. Because first it was
Yeah.
hard to them because the teacher that they had prior was not doing anything.
Right. Right.
I was
Right.
like so amazed, and I was like, I
and
was
and I and
baffled.
I can add to that too. I had a student that actually I have the brother of one of the students that you formerly taught, and he was something, we were in the hallway saying something. Oh, I was telling his brother, oh, I'm going to be the best language arts teacher you ever had, and he's like. And then the other brother, the older one, he's like, oh yeah. He was like, no, I had a great language arts teacher. I was like, who was your teacher last year? He's like, Miss Buckley.
Are
I'm
you
like,
serious?
I'm gonna tell you the name. I don't care who it was. And I was like, oh, and I wanted to come tell you that because I'm like, wow, you made an impact on his mind. Like, yeah.
Oh wow,
So
that's
you
so
definitely,
awesome.
definitely are making an impact on students. And I wanted to just, kind of dive into how do you, manage, how do you manage everything with you being an author of multiple books, a writer, and evangelist, and now a teacher and about to continue working on your master's? How are you able to kind of manage everything?
This is what I had to learn how to do, because when you do wear many hats and you do have many gifts,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to. I had to learn that you don't have to operate in those gifts at the same time, and I was doing that, and I was getting tired, and I was getting burned out, and I said, you know what? my plate is full. Now it's like being like you overpiling your plate with so much food, and so
Yeah.
now you call yourself a gluttony. And so so what I decided to do is I started to move things off my plate and say, okay, I can get back to this at another time and do this right now. This is needed
Right.
now. This can be done later. Like my school, it can be
Mm-hmm.
done at another time. I'm still working towards that goal, but in preparing for it, because I'm being prepared for it by understanding the procedures and policies within a school system, how it operates, how do you get certified, how do you get accredited,
Right.
what do you need for the students, what is the you know, you got to have fire drills, you got to have all these drills and things. It's more to it than just having people say, oh, I'm in school. But now
Yeah.
God he prepared me how to be a teacher in the school. Now he's preparing me how to have my own school,
Right.
my
Right.
own innovative school. So
Yes. Yes. And no, you said something that was very profound where you said you don't have to operate in all your gifts at the same time. You know, a lot of times we feel like we just got to get it all out. And
Yeah, I was
now
that
we're
person.
we're managing so many different things, so many different things, and then wonder why we have so much anxiety in our body
And that's what-
and burn out when it's like we have to become okay with saying, I can put this aside for right now. Doesn't mean that it's over
Right.
if it's still something you want to do.
Exactly.
Or better yet, knowing when something is done, you've done that already, and it's time to let it go and move on.
That's true.
That part's hard. I had to learn that with my dance studio. You know,
Oh,
I
wow.
had a dance studio. I was teaching. I had a dance studio, and I was just moving, doing it. It felt good. It felt great at the time, but I always knew it would come to a pinnacle. I had to make a choice, and I always, for me, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna choose my dance studio. Of course I'm gonna do that, right? But after pandemic, pandemic's happening. Then I got married. I got married during the pandemic, and then I had a baby. Literally I got pregnant 3 months after getting married.
Oh,
Then I had to
gosh.
go on bed rest though, so I didn't have a normal pregnancy. I was on bed rest for majority of my pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
So after all that, try to go back into teaching, right? Go back to work 6 weeks later, right? And then still run a dance studio. It was not, I was not operating the same. I struggled deeply, and I had to really come to that, realization, like, okay, something has got to go. Because something has got to go. And what is it now? And it was the dance studio for me. Like, it was no longer my baby. Like, I had a baby. I had a real baby in my arms. I had to take care of and be as present as possible for. And I was already struggling trying to do that with being a teacher and all the demands that it had on me while, managing the studio. I decided, you know what, God, I thank you. Thank you for allowing all my dreams to come true in that sector. And so when people ask me today, like, oh, like, they can't believe that I'm not dancing or doing the dance. I'm like, I'm
you
good.
will dance again because
yeah, I'm okay.
what I told God was, to me, it's all about divine. Everything about me is divine. Divinity, like the name of my company, having divine connections, networking, because I'm also a dancer. And within my school, I'm going to have a dance studio.
Yes.
And so I need people to hire. So,
Yes.
and I already have another teacher that wants to do something else at my school, because it's not just going to be a normal school, because it's going to be a school of for your mental. It's going to be a school for real life. Not just content to learn how to read and write, and learn how to do math. We're definitely not going to have social studies, because I hate social studies.
Listen, let me teach it. Let me teach it. I mean, I tell them they don't want me to be a social studies teacher, because I'm be telling y'all the truth about everything.
Exactly.
Listen, I cannot.
Social studies.
I learned that a long time ago.
Why do African Americans want to teach social studies?
I know. I learned that a long time ago, and I looked at the Georgia textbook and was like, what? I was like, I can't teach this. So I'm thankful that, I didn't have to teach. So what's funny is I had to do, like, when I was in elementary school, and so we did, departmentalization, where I taught ELA and social studies. And then one year my co-teacher said, you know what, I'll teach social studies, you do science. No problem, because I can't be, I couldn't, I know what I taught them. I taught them about themselves and who they were. But I cannot tell you that I taught them what the textbook was supposed to tell them. But they learned about themselves and who they were as, so Ooh, child. But
economics or something like that, or
yeah, about
government, but social
yeah.
studies, no, no, absolutely
Yeah,
not.
really, and they need to design that over. But we know that's a fight. That's an uphill battle. But you talked about this academy. The
Mhm.
future of what you're transpiring to be, and how you're taking all these experiences and steps along the way to get there.
Mhm.
Tell us more about your what is it? Beautiful, brilliant
Butterflies.
butterflies.
Yes, my girls. From I decreased the grade to 10 because I had a couple that want to come in of girls that want to join the beautiful, brilliant butterflies. It's just youth girls that I mentor. I take on the field trips. I'm started having Zoom calls, and I'm gonna start doing more with them. And what I want to do is, instead of doing like flash, you know how you do have business cards and you
Mm-hmm.
pass out your business cards. So what I want to start doing to get more, because the hard thing about working with the youth and mentoring the youth is you have to get parents involved,
Yeah.
and that's the struggle. And so it's not the kids, because they always want to. Okay, Miss, I'm ready. Let's go. They're ready to listen. They're ready to learn. They're ready to grow. They're ready to mature. They're ready to just impact. They're ready to become influential. They're ready to be an impact in this world. They're ready
Uh-huh.
to do their thing, honey. But it's like, and because I used to have, like, a show where it was, I have a voice for teens to come on and talk about, and give them a voice. Talk about divorce. Talk about suicide. Talk about their depression. Talk about abandonment. Talk about them being adopted.
Yeah.
People don't talk about even students being adopted. You don't know where these kids is coming from. So I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
have that show. I have a voice, and I'm still gonna have that show. I'm gonna be bigger than Oprah.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
manifest
Oh,
it.
you heard me. So don't steal my stuff.
Nope, it's already out there, right? You put it in
So
the atmosphere.
nobody's doing what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And if they're doing it, they're not doing it like me. So it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. So I'm excited about that. And so I want to do, instead of doing business cards, like I was saying, I want to do stickers for business cards. Kids love stickers,
Oh my
and
gosh, they
have
do.
a little information on there so they can give it to their mom. Because you know how you go to the grocery store, you get the little happy face. They
Yeah.
love that kind of stuff. So I'm getting one created and designed just for them, and like a little butterfly, and
Yeah.
give that information to their parents. So I'm
That's
gonna
and
start it
that
like
that
that.
is very, very unique. Very unique. Like that's a great marketing strategy too. It sure is. But yeah, that's wonderful. That's
Mhm.
wonderful. Like if you can just give any advice to like teachers who are thinking people thinking about becoming a teacher, because
Mhm.
you were there, you were on the outside, you came in, you said you got the chance to experience subbing first before jumping in cold
Mhm.
feet, and that some teachers, they jump in cold feet and then are
Mhm.
shocked. What
Mhm.
like advice or suggestions you can give them?
It's very simple and to the point. Are you called? As simple as
Mm,
that. Are you assigned? Are you on assignment? Are you called? And you a no. It's not a job to say I want a job. It's
right.
not a job like I'm gonna get this job at McDonald's. I'm gonna get this job over here at Best Buy. I'm gonna get this job at Micro Center. No, it's a call. If you're not called to teach, don't teach, because you're not gonna last. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to be called in order to last in this educational system. It's bigger than us. And it's just like politics.
Yeah.
You come in as a teacher, you want to do all these great things and amazing things for your students, but then it trickles back up to, you can't do that. You can't do that. And just
Right.
and I even believe, like, some politicians, I'm not saying all, but some go into politics, really want to make a difference. But then when you get into this big waters
Yeah.
of these sharks, you know what I'm saying?
You
And you just
realize
one
there's
person,
so
you just one
much.
little fish, you're gonna get ate up, you know what I'm saying, with your ideas and with your ideology, with your thinking, with your
Right.
innovative thinking, and being an agent of change. And that's the hard part. That's why you have to really just be there and get them tools, get what you need, and move on. Don't get comfortable. Never
Mm-hmm.
get comfortable in anything that you're doing. Just like you said, you had a dance studio.
Yeah.
You was doing this. Now obviously you married. Now you got a baby. It's always something going on. Don't ever get comfortable. I don't know how long I'm gonna be teaching in the school.
Yeah.
I love it, but guess what? If I have to be moved, I have to be moved. I'm not. Don't get stuck in
Mm-hmm.
anything that you're doing, because if you don't get stuck, guess what? You'll be okay. You'll be like, you know
Yeah.
what? Don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable with your husband. Women, don't get comfortable with your husband. Men, don't get comfortable with your wife. Don't get comfortable with anything, because guess what? It's a big world out here, and everybody's elevating. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
just comfortable and then everybody's elevating, you're gonna be left behind. whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a career, because everything is constantly, even language arts has evolved.
Right.
Talking about background knowledge instead of prior knowledge. Even how we teach it now is
Oh,
evolved.
child. You are speaking the word. Yes.
So everything is evolving. And so if you're not evolving with everything in your relationships, all relationships, you're not going to make it. But as far as being a teacher, don't do it if you're not called. I've seen so many teachers, they quit the first, even sometimes half of the year. They don't even make it a year. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and they end up not teaching. I mean, even last year, they don't even teach, period. They decided, I'm just going to go to the corporate America. Because they're not called.
Right.
You got to be called.
Yes.
And everybody don't like children. If you don't like children, please don't teach, because you got to deal with children. If you don't like authoritative, if you don't like leadership, don't teach, because you're going to have to listen. If you're not going to, and just because you're a teacher, you still have to be a student. If you're not ready, if you're not teachable, if you're not ready to be a student still as for yourself as well. I don't care if you're 50 years old, because I'm almost there and I'm still a student.
Yeah.
So I even tell my students that I'm still a student just like you, and I'm also in school. I give them the same playing field as me. I'm not, just because I'm a little older, we still in the same playing field. We're still learning, we're still growing. Don't hesitate to ask me anything, because guess what? And if you don't know something, don't feel like you're dumb, because guess what? We're in a learning environment. This is your first year in 7th grade. You're not going to know it. Why should we expect you to know it? You're here to learn. And that makes them more comfortable. Like, I want to do it. Let me go. Even if they get the answer wrong, they don't care. But they want to get the answer right. And so they investigate more, because they feel comfortable with being wrong. And we should feel comfortable with failing, because our failures helps us too and learn. You know what I mean? We learn from our failures. Like, okay, but look at Thomas Edison. He did it how many times? 199, however many times, 1,000 times. But guess what? That 1,001, he got it right. Yeah. Because he knew what not to do. So that's the thing about that. That's all I got.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's great advice. Definitely, don't get comfortable and be prepared to move when it's time to move. That was the word that spoke to me in my heart. That spoke to me in my heart. Yes. Well, what is one misconception that you think people have about teachers?
Let me tell y'all something. We make money. Okay? Don't get it twisted, okay? That is a huge misconception. Don't let them fool you. And guess what? I love the vacations, okay? That's one big thing for me is how teachers we need to get paid more. Listen, they gave us a little increase, but I think it's because the energy comes from we do need to get paid more. And I think that's where that energy comes from. But we get paid. We ain't broke. So
right.
I think it's a huge misconception in the educational system as far as, and I feel like it depends on what school you are at and what county and how much support that you're gonna have. That's very important. So
and that's the thing too. Like it's such crazy pay disparities everywhere. I mean, and then when you start to look at people that may be in ed tech, you're like, well, I'm in education too. Why are they making 6 figures and not? So it's just so much disparity that it's like, okay, you start to look like, well, I want more. I want more, So yeah, definitely.
Well, the thing about that, when you said about the pay and the disparity, it's because, okay, you got to go get your bachelor's, then get your master's, you're going to get paid more. Yeah. You get your doctorate, and you're going to get paid more. So the more degrees you have, the more you're going to. Yep. But see, that comes from working hard. Nothing comes easy. Please stop thinking you're going to be an Instagram star. Social media, this 10 minute or 15 minute of fame. You need to work hard, because we live in a microwave generation. Yep. We don't live in a crock pot generation right now, but we need to get back to that. We need to start simmering. And that's what one of my books is called, The Divine Transformation, The Butterfly Effect. I take you through the 4 stages of the butterfly, because guess what? If you come out that cocoon too soon, if a butterfly comes out the cocoon too soon, their body becomes really big and their wings are small, so that they're not able to fly. So if you come out too soon, you won't be able to fly. You won't be able to flourish like you need to. And some things take time, but we try to rush. That's everything in our lives. We got time. Even if you died tomorrow, you still had time. Because guess what? You did everything that you were supposed to do. And it's just slow down.
Like they said, simmer a little more. When you simmer a little more.
And it'll be better for you, because guess what? It'll be easy for you. Because if you don't simmer and you go out there too early, it's going to be hard for you. Then you're going to get frustrated and you're going to give up and you're going to quit.
Right.
So,
How can you name that book again, and how can we get a copy of that?
The Divine Transformation,
Mm-hmm.
The Butterfly Effect. It's on Amazon.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if you can, have a name for this chapter in your life, what would it be? You an author, so you can think of a chapter.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm gonna steal one of my authors' title. I'm right. She just got finished writing her book. I'm editing her book right now, and I'm gonna tell her about this too. She's gonna be so amazed that I even mentioned her. But the author is Octavia Morgan. She's writing her second book with me, and the name of the book is called "The Metamorphosis in Relationships." And that's what I'm going through, metamorphosis in all my relationships, because I'm looking for divine. When I tell you I got rid of my social media, I got 31 friends on my Facebook right now because I just started over. I'm starting everything over, starting from scratch because I need a new tribe. I'm building my own tribe, a divine tribe. I don't want just anybody because everybody just had so much access to me, and I was tired. I was being depleted because everybody wanted me to coach them, mentor them, and just put life back into them. They called me for prayer at 12 o'clock. I didn't call people off going into a river. This young lady finna drive into a river. She with her 2-year-old daughter at 12 o'clock at night. So I've been through the fire and with people, and I love it. But I have to say, listen, I got to keep myself filled up, and while people keep taking. So I had to let everything go and start over. I'm at a restart in my life, a reboot. And that's where I'm at, restoration, restoring and building myself. So metamorphosis in relationships.
And thank you for that, because it's a testimony of not being afraid to start over.
Yeah.
At any phase in your life or whatever that is, like, hey, I need a new tribe. I need people to pour into me right now. You've given so much of yourself, but now it's time for, like, hey, I need to pour back into me. Well, thank you so much.
I want to say something to that, then I'm done.
Please.
When you said about starting over, the great thing about starting over is you have all this great knowledge. It's just like somebody said, oh, if I can go back in time, but see, you don't have to, because you got all this knowledge, you learned so much. So you're not starting from scratch, you're starting from greatness. So look at it like that.
Yes. Well, when you talk, I feel like a student. I'm listening to you. I am, and you are speaking and pouring into my soul. So, I thank you. I thank you for being transparent and open and just sharing yourself with the world through, your books and in your teaching role. So thank you again. And I know you're not out there on social media, but is there any way for, people to, I guess,
purchase your book or
find? Okay, you are?
I told you I just started back last week. I got 31 friends now. I got 31 friends on my Facebook, Tammy Marie.
Okay.
And then I got 7 followers. I just started my Instagram a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Divine 1978. And you don't have to go to TikTok. I don't.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We took one step at a time.
Right. TikTok, I forgot what it was. I don't even remember.
But yes, can you let people know again, how can they purchase these books?
Amazon.com under Tammy Buckley. All my books is under Tammy Buckley. I have all under that. I don't think it's that many Tammy Buckleys. I don't think it's any really that's published books, but Tammy Buckley, you'll see this book here, From My Brokenness to Wholeness. This is my story when I was 12 to 16 years old. Came from my brokenness to my wholeness, and this girl did get up. That's the subtitle. Yeah, I've been through the fire,
and you got up.
And I did.
And you got up.
So I can help others get up. I can pull them up. My baby's pulling them up.
you are. Thank you again so much for just a little short amount of time, but in that short amount of time, your words are impacting. Your words
absolutely.
are very impacting. So thank you.
If it was one sentence, it was enough.
Yes. Go, girl. Well, we're going to get out of here. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. Click that bell button so you can stay updated on all things Unhappy Teacher. I'm Courtney Sela and our special guest, Miss Tammy Buckley, and we are out.